Hey, welcome to Mikey's Video Game Madness. Today we're playing Ninja Gaiden Sigma on the PlayStation 3. This was a PlayStation exclusive. This eventually came out on the PlayStation Vita. So if you wanted a portable version, hopefully they fixed the reverse camera when they made that version. Excuse me, I haven't actually played it. Um, I originally played this on the original Xbox. This was the 3D version of Ninja Gaiden. They originally announced this for the PlayStation 2. They're like, we'll utilize the PlayStation 2's power to be able to make Ninja Gaiden. The dude who made this game, I can't remember what his name was. He was kind of a controversial guy. He was also in charge of the Dead or Alive games, which is why the Ryu design, which is the main character you play as, is based off of the Ninja Gaiden. The Ryu design off of the Dead or Alive games, but apparently he left the company due to sexual harassment and stuff. He's really controversial. Always wore like sunglasses and like eccentric like leather jackets, possibly crocodile or alligator. I don't fucking know. I guess not crocodile. Aren't they endangered? But yeah, so when the PlayStation 2 came out, he was like angry. It's like, oh, the PlayStation 2 isn't powerful enough. I have to wait for the new thing. So eventually it came out on the Xbox fairly late in its life cycle. I remember getting this after a college course or class or whatever, and having to do homework and taking breaks in between the homework and playing this. This game was like balls hard at the time, and I got the hang of it. I never beat the game, but I got fairly far in it, close to the end from what I understand. But now playing this on the PlayStation 3, it's quite difficult, and it's like trying to relearn the game again. Like some of these gaming tropes that I used to be used to, it's really hard to get back into. This game runs at 60 frames per second. It's really quick, but the camera's all over the place, and the reverse camera, which was kind of popular for platformers at the time, is kind of standard in this game, and I don't like it one bit because I'm used to playing first-person shooters and pointing the stick to wherever the camera's gonna go. So it's really hard to get out of that habit. So I kind of have to take baby steps throughout this video. But yeah, I when this was on the original Xbox, it was super impressive, and it was Xbox exclusive. Then they came out with Ninja Gaiden Black, which was a refined game. I was determined to beat the game at the time, although I never did because you could unlock the NES versions of the game, which was really cool. I don't think the PlayStation 3 version has it. They also came out with Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 on the PlayStation 3, but some people think Sigma 2 is better, and then some people think the original Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Xbox 360 is better. This version looks better than the original Ninja Gaiden, but it doesn't have all the bells and whistles as Ninja Gaiden Black. It always came out with several versions, and then they had like Ninja Gaiden 3, and then Ninja Gaiden 3, I think it was like Razor's Edge or some shit like that. I don't know. It's whatever version I had. I think I originally got the regular version and then upgraded to the other version on PlayStation 3. On that particular version, from what I understand, the PlayStation 3 version was better. And in some ways, the PlayStation 3 version of Sigma 2 is better, with more levels and more characters, but they took all the blood out. And I think they didn't have as many enemies on the screen at the time, but I mean, whatever they could do to make the game more fun, because in some ways I heard the game was more balanced that way, but I don't know. This is before I was used to playing God of War, or I think the original Xbox version came out before God of War, and Devil May Cry is guilty of this too. One thing I don't like is you have to wait till the animation finishes before you can block, and that's always been a pet peeve of mine in early 3D platformers, and I just like to push the block button, and the character blocks or starts the block no matter what they're doing. But just like in Devil May Cry, you have to have the character finish their animations, which makes you vulnerable to get stabbed. I know Dark Souls is kind of like that in this, as well as Bloodborne. So I mean, it's whatever. I guess you have to be more strategic with what you do. I love the Yakuza games, so that's another one where your character kind of has to finish their animation before they actually block. I guess that's more realistic, but I mean, it's a video game. The dude's like running on walls and doing all this crazy shit, like bouncing in between walls and stuff. So I don't know if they were necessarily going through for realism. He also uses magic and shit like this. Shit like that, excuse me. You'll have to forgive me. Since I'm kind of having a new attitude towards this channel, I'm just going to be straight up and honest with you. I don't recommend this for everybody. You have to do what's right for you. Right now, I'm trying a new antidepressant, and it's not making me feel that great, which is why I decided to make a video so I could get my mind off of it. And it's kind of like, it's supposed to be temporary, but I don't know how long I can deal with this shit. But I started taking it yesterday, and yeah, it's like if you went out drinking all night the night before and then you woke up with this terrible hangover, like it's just nausea, dizziness, and of course I get a phone call. I'm trying to record this video. But anyway, yeah. But it's like risk versus reward. If there's something that's gonna make me happier in life, I don't know. I mean, nothing's gonna make you happier unless you're constantly on ecstasy or something like that. Although they are starting to do ketamine treatments now. But yeah, I don't like to talk about mental illness a lot because a lot of people use it as a crutch in their videos. It's like you know at least one person who suffers from it. I mean, the fucking Walgreens, our pharmacy, looks like a drive-through. But yeah, they're like, oh, it's temporary or whatever, but it's making me feel like complete dog shit, and I already feel emotionally not that great, so why would I want to feel physically like dog shit too? So I don't know how long I'll deal with it, but I figured I'd make a video. But I'm not trying to scare you away. You have to do what's right for you, but when you do, make sure you ask questions. Don't feel ashamed to go behind another doctor's back and ask for a second opinion, and make sure if you get off of the shit, like, make sure that you know what you're doing. Some stuff you have to wean off of, otherwise you can put yourself in serious harm, and some of this shit isn't for everybody. Like, you have to, what works for you best and what you need in your life, and also think fourth dimensionally, meaning thinking about like how long you think you'll be able to afford the drug. What happens if you build tolerance? You have to come up with backup plans, stuff like that. Like, you have to think about everything. And if people tell you you're overthinking it, they can go fuck themselves. And another thing, if somebody doesn't understand your depression and they tell you you just need to be positive and all this shit, and they don't realize that there's like an actual chemical imbalance or your brain's rewired differently, that's just because they don't understand. They haven't been through the shit, and they're just ignorant, and you can't get mad at them because they can't understand. Some people just are incapable of showing empathy, and you just gotta ignore them, because you're always gonna run into those people, and they're the type of people that won't relate to not having a job until they get laid off. They're those kind of people. They have to be in the situation. They don't have the imagination to imagine themselves being in that situation. And it sucks for them that they can't be decent human beings, but you will have to deal with people like that. But don't be ashamed, and also don't use your shit as a crutch, because if you do, it'll always fucking make you stuck in the situation that you're at. You'll never want to better yourself. So never settle, but understand that it's alright. And you're just, I don't know, life's a work in progress. Everybody has their own shit. You know, sometimes it's different, and a lot of these people don't get it. But anyway, yeah, I'm trying this. I don't know if it'll work. I don't really like being on medication in general, but I'm kind of desperate right now. I don't know what to do to feel better, but that's, if I sound out of it, it's because I'm trying not to throw up, to be honest with you. And every time I get up, I'm like dizzy. It's like, it's horrible. They're like, oh, you just walk it off. They're like, it's no big deal because it's not them. So make sure you always ask questions. They tell you to stay off the internet, but it wouldn't hurt to research it. And ask the pharmacist, ask your general practitioner, ask other people in the medical field. Just don't stick to the person who's giving you drugs. You know, that person might get some extra money for recommending that type of drug or whatever. Some people don't really care. Make sure you have a doctor that understands you and where you're coming from. And that's all I have to say about that. So, as this channel goes on, maybe I'll be more open and honest about stuff like that. But I know it's a video game video, but I always felt like the video games were background noise. I think in the future, for non-video game related videos, I might make a thumbnail called Mikey's Madness instead of Mikey's Video Game Madness. That way people won't be confused with the different thumbnails or a different name of the channel. But anyway, yeah, this game's alright. I don't think it holds up that well. I haven't played that much of the sequels, but they look nice. I like that you can play as different characters and stuff in the Sigma games, at least. And then, well, the Sigma game, the second Sigma game, I think you can play as a different character. I don't think you can in this one, so I just meant Sigma 2. And then the third one, even though it's like Sigma, the second iteration of the third game, it's like a Sigma game, but it's like called like Razor's Edge or something like that. You play as, I think her name's like Ayami or something like that. It's like Ryu's sister or something. I can't remember what her relationship. It's the pink-haired girl, one of the pink-haired girls from Dead or Alive, like you'll notice in the ninja one. And you get to play as her. And I don't know. I think the PlayStation 2 one looks good in its own right. I've only seen screenshots of the Xbox 360 version of Ninja Gaiden 2, and then I think they're kind of on par with the Ninja Gaiden 3's both versions, the regular version and the Razor's Edge version. But I heard, from what I understand, the Razor's Edge version is better because it has like the different characters and everything. It's essentially a Sigma game, but the Sigmas were like PlayStation exclusives, and then the upgraded version of Ninja Gaiden 3 came out on the Nintendo Switch. So they didn't call it Sigma, they just called it like Razor's Edge. And I'm probably getting that wrong. If I got it right, that's awesome. But that one's kind of unique in its own right. The Sigma version of 2 is a little bit easier than I think the original, from what I've read. Again, I haven't played it. But I think all in all, it's an easier game than the first one. And then the third one was like apparently super easy. I didn't play much of the original third one before I got like the second iteration of it. And the second iteration of it ups the difficulty, but the graphics are updated and you get to play as different characters. So there's that. The second version of Sigma also actually has this weird feature where when you move the controller, the female protagonist's breasts move. Actually, you can play as. I just remembered. I haven't played this game much. I'm just remembering the back of the box. You can play as the the blonde girl from this game. I don't know what her name is. She has like a staff and all this stuff. She's in the 5th Dead or Alive Final Bout game, one of the expansions. I don't think she's in the original Dead or Alive 5. Like, Tecmo's like always, they can't just settle with like one game. They're like Capcom with their Street Fighter games. They come out with like 15 different versions. But this game would be way better if they got the camera straight. Like, there's so many cheap shots that you get just because you can't see the other character. Not to mention, you can't finish your animation before you block it. Blocking in this game is so crucial, but you know, you get used to it. And then I'm basing it on my experience with the Xbox, the original Xbox version, because I did get this on PlayStation 3. I think when I got a PlayStation 3, I bought, because I got the Red Ring of Death, and I knew that it was just gonna, even if I sent it back, it would break and then send back for another one. And I was like, how long is Microsoft gonna honor this back and forth? So I didn't get another 360 until they redesigned it, and then I ended up selling that one for a PlayStation 4 along with a shit ton of games. And then Vinny Corleone 62 sent me his old original Xbox 360 with an updated chip, which was super nice of him, greatly appreciated it. And then I slowly built up my 360 collection to just the exclusives are the better ports of some of the games that were on PlayStation 3, like Bayonetta. I still need to get a couple of games. I think I said a little bit of that on the Stranglehold video. But I originally had this on the Xbox, and then I don't even remember what. I think I traded my Xbox in for an Xbox 360. That's what it was. I used to trade in a lot because I was working at a grocery store and I'm paying tuition, so didn't really have a lot of extra money. Like, getting a game back then was like a huge deal. Now you can get games fairly cheap, but if I remember correctly, they weren't ever really discounted that much around that time. But I used to play the shit out of this game, so I'm more familiar with that version. When I went and got a PlayStation 3 after the Red Ring of Death, I bought Resistance, and then there were two games I really liked at the time, which was Tony Hawk's Project 8, which was weird because I was never a huge fan of Tony Hawk beside the first game, and Call of Duty 3. So I had those games, and then it was so slow for like PlayStation 3 games to come out, and I think I got this because this was one of the few games that came out that was new for it, and eventually Heavenly Sword, and I think Virtua Fighter 5. And then there was a drought. They were like really trickling out slow. Like, most of the ports on the 360 that came out on the PlayStation 3 at the time were quite bad. So this was actually well made and appropriate for the time, but very dated now. I know it's 7th gen, so it's already dated by default. But even if you played a PlayStation 3 game late in its life cycle, that's the girl you get to play as in Sigma 2, by the way, and in the second iteration of this third game. I was actually able to beat that guy on the first try, although I died and I had some revive or something. I don't remember much about this game, even though I played the shit out of it back in the day. I don't know. There was so many good games that came out after it. I guess I forgot about it. Not that this is a bad game, but it's definitely dated with its mechanics and stuff like that. But yeah, I got this at the pawn shop as well for $6. It was just in a stack. This was actually in mint condition. It was one of those red greatest hits games, but I'm not one of those people that have to have it in perfect condition like your average game collector. I just want the games. That's it. As long as the disc is in good shape, I'm good. I really don't care. I can get another case right now I don't even have the room to display all my cases, so I have to use a binder. I wish I did. I wish I had a bookshelf like some of these people in their YouTube videos with all the games in the background, but it's just not going to happen. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening to me if you made it this far about the medication and shit like that. Hopefully maybe it'll help give you some perspective if you're struggling or whatever. But I hope you're all doing well, and hopefully the next video will be better. Take care. Bye.
If you want to, like, comment, and